Thanks. Well, good morning, sir. Thank you for coming.
All right.
To start off the interview, can you say your name and your place of birth for documenting purposes?
Okay. My name is Abe White. I was born in Charleston, South Carolina,
Yes, sir.
in 1935.
All right. So you're a local? Were you raised in Charleston?
I was raised in Charleston. Yeah. Yeah. I was raised in Charleston. I went to youth school, which is on Calhoun Street. I guess for elementary school, and I did 1 year in New York. Everybody in the family had to go to New York.
Mm-hmm. What was that for?
That was like, that was it. When you left Charleston, you had to go to New York to succeed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, I hated it. I did 1 year in New York, and I came back and went to Burke School.
Okay. Well, can you tell us some more about your young life as a child? You know, growing up in Charleston. What was your family like?
Uneducated family, uneducated mother and father, poor, the father abandoned the family at, I guess, while I was young, like 5, I guess, before I left youth school. So it would be like the first 5 or 6 years. My mother, uneducated but very resourceful. She did like iron. She would take, one thing she did was, people would bring their clothes to her, and she was wash and iron the clothes, and they would come by and pick it up. You know, they would drop the clothes off in the morning and come by and pick it up. She did a lot of that, but she also sold liquor, moonshine liquor. So that was like a whole different thing. But it also had an influence on me as far as, you know, alcoholism. It had a problem. You know, I saw the destruction of that. So right early on, I was in a survival kind of mode. Wanted to try to help her out, that kind of thing. I was the old. There was 3 of us. I was the oldest, a brother and a young sister. They both died.
What did you do to help? Did you have a job that you had when you were younger?
No,
just around the house?
No. But that's where the music thing came in.
Mm-hmm.
After elementary school, and then I went to New York for 1 year, and I came back and went to Burke School, and it was at Burke that I was introduced to the music. Some guys used to practice down the block. The girls would hang around. So I said, that's what I want to do, you know. So I signed up for music. No mentor, no family musicians, no nothing. I just wanted to sign up for the band. So I signed up for the band. Didn't have no musical instrument either. But I signed up for the band. And that's how my music interest got started. And the band, of course, started with me learning how to read music, I guess, the notes, you know, on the staff, the FACE, EGB, that kind of thing. And then the next step was to learn fingering. And that was taught using a ruler. So still, I didn't need a horn. So far, I'm in the music course now, about maybe a month or so, 6, 7 weeks, with no instrument. But that's good. But I was progressing, so I learned the fingering. I didn't have a horn, but there was a guy would let me use his horn, and to the day I can't even picture him. But he let me use. He had a class was before his period was before me, and when he got through, he would hand me the horn, and I would go use a horn to practice. So with that horn, I progressed. I jammed. I learned how to jam. I learned how to play a couple of notes. And about December or so, school started in September. About December or so, some older guys asked me to be in their band. 14, 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They joined a band to make money. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way I can help my mother. So that was it. I started with about minimum training. 3 months playing. I was in a club playing in bars. 14, 15 years old. And that's really how it started. And I was in like hustling mode all the way, which would be like 3-4 years of high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I entered high school as a straight A student. I just barely graduated,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, because I was up all night playing in bars and stuff as a teenager. But I was making money, and I was I guess progressing, you know, with the music. That went on for, you know, until I graduated from high school, and then I had my first kid right out of high school. I had a kid, and then I stayed around another year after high school, which I graduated in high school in '53, and in '54 I went into the service. I went to the Air Force. No mentor, no advisors or anything. I just went into the recruiting office on Hudson Street. Said, "Can I take the test?" I don't know. What do you want to do? Just let me take the test. I took the test, and I passed it. Whoa. You want to go in the Air Force? Yeah, I want to go in the Air Force. Didn't know anything about what I was doing. I went to the Air Force, got on a plane. They flew me to Columbia on a plane, blew me away. Next thing, I'm on a plane flying to Texas, blew me away. But then that changed, right from there, my whole life changed, because I was making money that I could send to my mother. And, you know, started taking care of myself a little bit. But then I had another kid, and so I was really in hustling mode all the way. So my whole musical beginning was about making money. I didn't have any artistic, you know, dreams about being on Broadway and all that kind of stuff. I didn't have that kind of aspirations. It was just like a way to make money to help my mother. And that worked out pretty good. And the being in the service, I did a lot of traveling, you know, that kind of thing.
So what was your job in the Air Force? Did you have a certain specialty that you
Yeah,
worked?
my specialty was administration.
Okay.
Which was even better. I had a choice. When I first went in, a friend of mine had also went into the Air Force, and I kind of learned a little bit about the music situation. And I learned that if you were in the band, that you were committed to the band's program. You know what I mean? If they had a parade in Georgetown, I had to go. But I was in hustling mode. Being in the hustling mode, I had to. I didn't want to miss out on any jobs. So I didn't go to the band. Instead, they told me that I was good at typing, and I didn't know that. So I went to typing school and Excel. You know, I was typing like 100 words a minute. Didn't know that. Didn't know I was capable of that. And I ended up in administration type jobs. In orderly room, hip to orderly room. The orderly room. I was in orderly rooms most of the time. And then most of my assignments were with special units. but I was always administration. And I went, I entered after basic training in Texas. I went to Harlingen, Texas, then Denver, then Germany, and back to Denver, then San Bernardino, California. And then I was stationed here for a while. And I went to Thailand and back to Florida. And Florida is where I got out of the service.
So you were moving around all this time. Were you still playing? So you said you were in hustle mode. You were going to bars.
Everywhere I went, I either joined a band or started a band. Always hustling, always trying to make some money. And with the service thing, it was wonderful because I worked straight days. It was like 7:30 to 4:30 most of the time, and I was gone. No commitments after 4:30. I just had to be to work the next morning. So I would work and then run 100 miles and come back, go to work. Maybe I'd go to sleep early that night and then run again. So being young, you know how it is. You can stay up all night, a couple of days. So I was really, really hustling all the time.
That's good. All right, we're going to pass on to the next interviewer so we can ask some questions that he formulated over the day.
Okay.
Thank you, though. It was really good.
Thank you.
What would you say your earliest memory involving music is?
I think it would be just when I started, when I started to, when I signed up for it, because I didn't have any idea how it was going to affect me, but I just saw it as a way to make money. So, being in the at Burke, it was a good experience because not only was I playing, but the band also took trips with the orphanage. The good players would augment the orphanage, and the orphanage would have there was a trip to Accomack, Virginia. Accomack, I remember that. It was like a racetrack, carnival racetrack kind of a thing, and the band would play. It was like a carnival, and the band would play. So we would leave the Burke student would augment the orphanage guys, and we formed that band, and we go to Virginia, and I did that twice. That was a big experience also. The band director at Burke, Holland Daniels, he was associated with the orphanage, so that's why they sort of help out over there.
How would you say that your learning experience in school compared to what you learned on your own when you were in the clubs and the bars?
See, I didn't go to school until after I got out of the service. So it was what I learned in bars and stuff. I kind of didn't know what I knew. You know what I mean? I was performing. That was the good part about going to school. When I finally went to college, then I was able to put a name on a lot of things. I was able to understand what I was doing, and you know what I mean, the elements of the music, the importance of the rhythm and the importance of tuning and all that kind of stuff. That didn't happen until I went to college, because when I went to college, then my whole perspective changed. I was still in the hustling mode, but I wanted to now I elevated it somewhat because I understood the tools that I had. I was performing real good. I had a excellent tone. I had already sort of settled on what I could do and what I couldn't do, and I had sort of developed a style, and the style came along. I was able to identify and clarify the style when I went to school. I think that's a big difference.
Can you tell us about when you started the Abe White Affair? About how that all got together?
Yeah. When I got here, I said I was stationed here in '69. Yeah, '69 or so. I was hustling. I was in different bands, and every time I had a band called the Port City All Stars, and then at one point I had another band called the Royal Suite. But then every time a guy leave, if he suggests the name, every time he leave, he takes the name. So there was times where I would call a band something, and the guy that gave me the name had left, and he wanted his name. He didn't want me to keep his name. So at that point, I decided that I'd call it the Abe White Affair, and nobody could steal that. And that was that. But then also, at that point, the music had developed more, whereas it was more representative of what I wanted to really do. I was playing better and playing different kind of gigs, and that happened mostly after I got out of the service, mostly. Yeah.
How did the music progress? You said it changed.
It changed. Well, it changed from it started changing because of my abilities, and we went from playing dances, maybe in armories, in bars, to festivals and concerts, especially after I got out of the service and I was around here. I got involved with Spoleto and all that kind of stuff, and that opened up a whole different ball game as far as audience is concerned, and my music was changing to fit more intellectual type kind of a situation, which was good for me because it forced me to kind of to look at some other tunes and other ways of performing, and that was the Abe White Affair.
I'll pass off the torch to our next interviewer.
Okay. I'm rambling now, but how am I doing?
You're doing great. Thank you.
Okay.
So, throughout your career in the Air Force, you said that you spent a year in Thailand.
Yeah.
How did you get gigs to play in Thailand?
There weren't any gigs in Thailand. Thailand was weird. Thailand was firstly in the jungle. You're in the jungle. But there was a civilian community, and so you had to get out of your comfort zone and get in the sound. We call it. There was a sound line, those little buggies with the guys drive the bike. Like they got them around here a little bit. The guys drive the bike. I call it a sound line. I don't know what they call it around here. Like rickshaw, those kinds of things.
Okay, like the bike taxi kind of
thing?
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm weird. I find out some guys are playing way out in the jungle somewhere, and I would go. And those are the parts of my life where I feel really lucky because I didn't know where I was going and what I was doing, but in the jungle, and there was some Thai guys playing, trying to do American music, and I would just get involved. And I would use that. But then also on the bass, they had events. They had a situation on the bass where they had an NCO club. They had clubs, like on regular bass. And I did find a couple other musicians. And so I formed a kind of band on the bass, but it was really not too much money being made. But I just had to keep playing just while I was there. So it's either in the jungle with some Thai guys on the bass, or by myself.
Okay.
That was it.
Did you ever feel kind of skeptical or anything while going out into the jungle trying to look for these guys?
Well, I was being young when you're young, man. I was crazy. I was and reckless, I guess, because when I look back on it, I could have went out there and nobody would never see me again. but I used to do things like that. I would take my horn and just go wherever people are playing. And I said, hey, can I play? Fine, that's it. A lot of times that's where I got started. But that was dangerous as you look back on it. When I first got out of the service, I went to New Orleans. I thought I was gonna move there, and I used to find out where there's a band over there. Okay, I would take my horn and go try to get in to play. But that's dangerous because I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what was around me. And at one spot, I was trying to get into a place there was a crowd, and I was in the back of the crowd trying to get in. And at some point, I decided, it's too much trouble to try to get in. I turned around and walked away. And I learned that right across the street from that bar was one of the most notorious projects in New Orleans. And there I was with an instrument, with a horn, really, really dangerous. But I didn't know it. So that's kind of how I went. I would just explore, try to meet people, go places, and that's how I kind of got made friends and networked with people that way.
Wouldn't change a thing, would you?
Huh?
You wouldn't change a thing, would you?
Oh no, because I learned a lot. Right. I learned a lot, especially about self-preservation. I learned a lot, and it's what I had to do. I was always trying to figure out a way to get with some guys to make some money.
Right.
Man.
Yes, sir.
So that's kind of how I.
So, out of all the places that you visited, you mentioned, I think, Boulder and Germany. What was your favorite places that you lived?
Oh, every one of them was good. Because I build, friendship and relationships everywhere I went. Like in Harlingen, like when I first got out of training, basic training, I went down at Harlingen, Texas, which is down going toward Brownsville, going toward Mexico.
That's right on the Rio, isn't it?
Right. So that first experience, right out of basic training, I get stationed close down to Brownsville, Mexico. So there was a lot of adventures after work into Mexico.
Right, across the border.
Constantly. Constantly, you get out of your warm bed on the base and go sleep in a cold cot in Mexico. So that was part of that experience. And there was bars in Mexico where I would play, just set up and play, Denver was good. I spent 6 years in Denver. I spent 2, and I went to Germany for 2, and I came back to Denver for 4. Denver was cool because as as a young guy, I had a house. I was able to buy a house in Denver, and that was a big deal, coming off the projects and being, poor like we started out. So that was a good experience. I really appreciate it. And Denver was, like it is now, it was always a lot of bars, a lot of musicians. So there's a lot of opportunity to get to play and learn.
Yes,
Matter of fact, all these things were not just hustling. I was really learning because, I was doing it all on the road. Picking up things, some habits, bad habits, and good habits, and trying to learn from you how'd you do that, man, and how'd you do that, man, and then trying to learn things. So that whole military music thing was hustling, but it also was learning. And like I said, it wasn't until when I went to school after the service that I was able to kind of understand more what I had been doing, and then what was good and what was bad. I was able to kind of clean out the bad stuff.
Right.
So, but that's how it was.
Whenever you would go to different places like Mexico or Germany or places with cultural differences, would you adjust your music to kind of fit what they would want to hear, or would you just play what you like to play?
No. It turns out that if you do jazzy type things, that's it. All across the cultural line.
Okay.
Wherever you go, there's a lot, especially in Germany. Germany was hip because Germany, they, you were like a star almost in Germany. When we come in bringing our equipment, they applaud when we coming in with our stuff, and the play you were really respected, really, a whole lot. The jazzy thing is what I think opened the door to a lot of things. Even in Mexico, anyway, they like the jazzy type thing. So I think the style of music opened up a lot of doors for me.
Speaking of jazz, I was reading about you did some work with I can't quite remember her name, but she started a genre called Jazzpora. Am I pronouncing that right?
Diaspora. Diaspora.
Can you explain to me what that is?
Well, that's usually it's a cultural thing. It's usually, say, Africans living in America, or African living in diaspora. That's what they kind of consider to be it's a group from another area, and they spread out through the world. That would be the diaspora.
Okay.
And I think you're talking about a lady named Diane. Was it Cole? I forgot Diane's last name.
Diane does sound familiar. I think that's
Diane.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, she was a curious. I met her. She was more into the cultural thing.
Mm-hmm.
She had spent time in Belize, and she had the African connection, and I met her. She was working in a shop in the Citadel Mall, and then they had lectures in the back of the Citadel Mall, in the back of the store, and she sang, and then I was preparing musical tracks that we used, to perform with. And she kind of taught me a lot about her African connections, and I met a lot of those guys and stuff. That's that was about.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass you over to Rule here. Thank you for answering all those questions.
Okay.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay.
I just want to take a little back to high school and playing bars in Charleston.
Okay.
What was the atmosphere in those bars like?
In Charleston.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's during my time it was like, I guess the war was ended in the 40s, right? It's like, but around Charleston there was a lot of military. I think mostly Navy, a lot. So it was a big deal. Are you familiar with North Charleston a little bit?
Yes, sir.
Reynolds Avenue, you know, off of Rivers.
Mm-hmm.
Reynolds Avenue was like Market Street. Reynolds Avenue. There was a Navy gate, the Navy Yard gate. It opens up right, it comes right out to Reynolds Avenue. Reynolds Avenue to, say, from the naval base to Sproul. Bars. It's a lot of bars. So a lot of gigs, you know. And then also downtown on Market Street. Market Street has always been bars. So those are the places I played. While I was in high school, the most I played the most at a place called the 5 O'Clock Club. It was a bar on the corner of, I think, Cumberland and Market. It was way down near the end of Market Street. 5 O'Clock Club, which means that I was up mostly all night and had to try to go to school. That's why I say that I started at a straight A, and by the time I graduated, I was just barely making it. But those bars, like, they were hustling all night long, and as a youngster, I would play in there with some older guys, and I learned how to drink, learned how to smoke, I learned how to gamble. But I was making money and taking money home to my mother, so that was a big deal. But the music scene was I guess it was hot. There was a lot of musicians, a lot of bars.
Was it easy to like get into them and just start playing, or did you have to like contact the owners and stuff before?
No, well, as a youngster, I didn't really have too many contacts. I sort of relied on the older guys. They seemed to have, they're the ones that seemed to have the connections. My role was just to please let me play with y'all, so I could make me some
Yes,
money.
sir.
I didn't want to start no trouble, But I didn't have any connection. I remember as a youngster, I was just going along with the crowd.
What could you tell me? What was your greatest moment with your horn anywhere?
What I'm doing now, man, is the greatest.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, being 82 years old with a gig, I'm in heaven. And I'm at the place where I'm playing right now. I'm at Halls on King Street. I've been there like 7 years or so.
Did you say Halls?
Yeah, the Chop House.
Mm-hmm. Go there all the time. I might have seen you there before, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I could ride that till I die, because it's excellent conditions. I don't have to set up any equipment. I just come in and play. I with a piano player. I'm there on Monday nights. Mostly on Monday nights. I do other nights, but my main night is Mondays. So that's right now. That's the best part of it. And what I also get the opportunity to use all of my tools. I play. It calls for good melodies. It calls for nice jazzy type things, and it's all like bringing everything full circle, all the hustling knowledge, all the street knowledge, going to, college knowledge, learning how to write, record myself. So all of those kind of elements is now I use all of that right now, and so right now it's the best. This is the best time.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I'll ask a couple more questions. So you said that you went to New Orleans for a period of time?
Yeah, after I got out of the service, I thought I was going to move there, and I got that. I got an apartment, got a job in a music store. But part of my job was delivering instrument to people. And once again, I'm carrying a horn in areas where I don't know where I'm going. I'm just carrying this horn. And I look back on, that was one of the times I look back and say, whoa, man, you didn't know where you was at. Right. And I was in all different areas. And, that worked out fine because it was a job. And I had some gigs. So that turned out pretty good music-wise. But then I didn't like it because someone broke into my car, and I felt really threatened because I was living in a big apartment. It was a big old unit, great big unit, way out on the east end of New Orleans, close to Citadel, that area.
Yes, sir.
And there was no security kind of thing. And someone broke into my car, took the battery, and as soon as that happened, I got a U-Haul truck, loaded up, went by the job and told them I quit, and came to Charleston. So that's how I went. I'd already enrolled at Southern. I was going to go to school at Southern. I was looking forward to that because I thought that's where I wanted to go. But then I didn't feel safe, so I ended up coming back to Charleston.
I'm right around, like I'm from right around New Orleans. I'm from Baton Rouge.
Okay.
And so I'm pretty familiar with that area. Did you have like a favorite bar that you would play at, or?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't too familiar with the names of the bars. I met people, and they would just steer me to where things were happening. And once again, I'm in all different areas, all different. Don't know where I'm going. Uptown, downtown. All different areas. So I didn't have any special bars. Matter of fact, I didn't even know of any bars, any special bars, other than one that would let me play.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
There's a part we kind of skipped over that I was curious about.
Okay.
Your college life. I think you were in Pensacola. That's where you went to
Yeah,
college,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that whole idea of playing to succeed, that some people talk about.
Yeah.
So what was that like? What was college?
Well, that was the transition from street knowledge to going to school. Mm-hmm. Because once I went into school at Pensacola Junior College, mm-hmm. I had professors, evaluating me, and they told me that, I had some good. Some things I was doing real good, and to me that was really good. That was really helpful because it sort of I said it gave me the not the nerve, but it sort of opened my eyes of the other possibilities about writing music and recording music. But it was in college where that light sort of came on, you know, and I started thinking like, well, maybe I could combine what I sort of felt all the time, a sort of geeky, reggae, jazzy, mixed up feeling that the groove that I have that I like to do. I was able to sort of put a name to those kind of things, and that's where where I thought that I could probably do something, you know, like original, creatively. It wasn't until I got to college that I started feeling creative. Before then, it wasn't creation; it was just hustling. And it was in college that the light came on, and that maybe I could explore creating the music myself.
So
That's
when
what it's
you
about.
found this creative side, did you start writing music? Were you playing your own music?
Absolutely, and it really took off when I So I did a couple of years in Florida with the Pensacola Junior College, and then I came to Charleston with the College of Charleston, and then I got the job with the phone company. Okay. With the job with the phone company, I was able, I was making more money, and I was able to start buying equipment. And I started buying recording equipment. Which I had never explored before. It wasn't about recording before, it was just hustling, playing. But when I went to college, I started sort of evaluating what I was doing. It turned out that I had some good ideas. The phone company allowed me to buy a lot of equipment. So when I quit the phone company, it wasn't no big deal because I had already had equipment, and I had the time to spend with that. And it was there that I started recording and writing, and really try to focus my style and focus my playing toward trying to create something with the geeky kind of groove. That's how that went. Yeah.
Good. So that's what you would consider your style to be, the geeky kind of
Jazz,
kind of flow.
jazzy. Jazzy. But I like the Caribbean. I like those kinds of grooves. So I would say yes. And when you say geeky, most of the time you kind of get a reggae kind of a thing. So, and then to put the jazz on top of that, along with that, that's one of my favorite grooves. Although I like, I'm a melody man, so I love ballads and stuff like that. But which both up, they all work together. You know what I mean? But as far as trying to swing and stuff like that, like the bebop type jazz, I wasn't able to do that. That made my head hurt. I had to figure out, whoa, you can't play like Charlie Parker, you can't play like John Coltrane. I really felt threatened because if that's the standards, I can't do that. I couldn't comprehend. But I had a good tone, and I played melodies. And then there's saxophone players like Stanley Turrentine and some of them old timers like Lester Young. They're melodies. They're not bebop. So, but with melodies, I noticed that there's a space for me to perform melodies, although I can't do the intricate bebop licks that other jazz players were doing. I was able to feel fulfilled by just playing the melodies, and like I'm doing today.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just the melody thing is really has sustained me a lot. Yeah.
I think this will be the last question, unless you guys have anything else. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm curious as to wondering how you view the new music that comes out nowadays within the past couple years, and what your view is on that.
It's a challenge, but with me, you know, I roll with it. Even today, you know, instead of the old bass player, drummer, piano player concept, like the jazz, like we used to do it, I have to be careful to get away from that because that's not what's happening now. The tracks are they like created, you know, digitally, and they're doing different things. So I roll with that. Right now, all my new projects, I try to use current sounding bands, which is just, it's really not a band. It's just usually the mix. That's so. To answer your question, I roll with it. I try to incorporate that when I'm whenever I can. Like there's some situation where most of the time I perform by myself, and I use current sounding tracks whenever I can. And for me, it's kind of a, you know, with the jazz part of it, it gives me a chance to explore a different thing rather than having a jazz type sound, you know, like from the 50s and 60s. I used the current sounding, even pop sounding jazz, a pop sounding track, and then add a jazzy type horn on top of it. And that's an element that I use to try to create new music myself.
Yes, sir.
Where do you see your future going as far as music in Charleston? Are you content just
My
playing?
music?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm cool. I'm cool.
Just hanging out?
I write. So I like to maybe write a good song.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm doing, I'm always writing. So I'm recording. I send music out to people. That's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep myself current
Mm-hmm.
and keep myself in shape.
Have you ever considered teaching?
No,
It's not your thing.
because that would take away from my hustling.
Yeah.
See, yeah,
Yes, sir.
right. They get me. They every time they see me, can you teach me? I mean, I could consult. You know, we can come together every now and then, but I don't want to make a commitment every day or whatever to spend time with other people. Like I'm hungry myself,
Yes, sir.
so that's the kind of mode that I've been in all my life, and you know, I love for somebody to come with me on a job, and we can play, and maybe we can share some ideas. But as far as sitting home and trying to teach somebody how to play a horn, no, I don't have that kind of time. I tell the kids if they go to school, and I can after school, then I can help them out with their lessons and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to be the primary. I don't want to be the primary teacher.